Welcome to CrashMagic. In this video we've got a performance for a card trick that I think is a really good fooler. This one will certainly leave spectators but also fellow magicians scratching their heads if they've never seen it before. But despite how strong this effect is, it's actually really easy to perform when you know the secret. So if you like it, there's a tutorial immediately after showing exactly how this works. For this trick we have two spectators who are each going to select a card. To start, I'm going to split the pack into three piles of cards, and it's really important to follow which pile is which. So first we cut from the top of the pack, and then we cut the middle here. So that means we've got top, bottom and middle. Now it is possible of course that I was sneaky and I may have glimpsed the top card of this pile, or likewise maybe the bottom card of this pile. But would you agree there's no way I could possibly know the card that we've cut to here? Spectator 1, would you please take the top card from this pile, look at it and remember it? Okay, have you got it? Then if you could place it back anywhere into the middle of this pile. And now if you could take this pile of cards and shuffle them as much as you like. Okay, if you're happy that they are well mixed, Spectator 2, if you could now choose a card from this pile. But as I said, I could have remembered this top card, so before you do that, if you could take these cards and shuffle them. Happy? Now, if you could take the top card, look at it and remember it. If you've got it, then place it back on top of the pile. That's perfect. Right, we are now going to place this pile that was originally the bottom of the pack on top, but again I may have glimpsed the bottom card, so I'd like you to give these cards a shuffle before we do that. Okay, now we'll place it on top, and then we're going to place this pile on top, but again let's give it another shuffle before we do that. So you've both chosen a card, and remember all three piles of cards have been shuffled, and yet I'm going to attempt to find your cards. Okay, Spectator 1. I think this might be your card. And now Spectator 2 for your card. Remember all these cards were shuffled by yourself. So then Spectator 2, I think this might be your card. So we have the 9 of spades and the 7 of spades. So that was the trick, and if you liked it and want to learn how it's done, this is the tutorial. This one is perfect for directly working with two spectators, but you can also involve other spectators by getting them to do some of the shuffling of the cards. There's no sleight of hand at all required for this one, so it's very easy to perform, and the secret is all in the setup of the cards beforehand, so it's a good trick to do as an opener. Onto that setup then, and how you're going to set the cards up before you begin the trick. So we need all the spades in order, the full suit of spades all the way through from ace to king, like so. And then you also need 11 other cards, any values, any suits. So the rest of the pack goes on the bottom, the spades in order, ace on the top, king on the bottom, go on top of that, and then your 11 other random cards go on top of that. And that is your setup, and you're ready to begin. Now you could casually do some false cuts or false shuffles, keeping the cards in exactly the same order, but all the cards are going to be shuffled during the trick itself, so I personally don't think it's even necessary to do that. The first step of the trick then is to cut about a third off the top of the pack and place it to the side. Now the important thing with this step is that you cut into those 13 spades that you've set up within the pack. So that means you need to cut anywhere from 12 cards up to 24 cards. Now that's quite a big range, so you're probably going to be okay to let a spectator do this cut, but if you're in any doubt, it's probably better that you do the cutting of the cards yourself. Then you cut another third of the pack and place that here. You're then going to get your first spectator to look at and remember the top card from this pile. So it's worth at this point emphasizing that although it's possible you may have remembered the top or the bottom cards, this pile here was originally the middle of the pack, so there's no way you could know this card, especially if you did allow the spectators to cut the cards. So once they've looked at and remembered their card, in this case the 9 of spades, exactly the same as in the performance, you then get them to return the card to this pile. It doesn't matter where they return it to, and anyone can shuffle this pile of cards as much as they like and in any way they like. Now, because of how the cards were set up at the start and how the pack was cut, the spectator's card will always be the lowest spade within this pile, and we're going to use that knowledge to find this card at the end. We're now going to ask a second spectator to look at and remember the top card from this pile, which was originally the top third of the pack. But before we do that, we ask them or another spectator to shuffle these cards. So once this pile has been well shuffled, the second spectator looks at and remembers this top card. So in this case we've got the Jack of Clubs, and then we get them to replace it back on top. So now your two spectators have each remembered a card. We can then ask one of the spectators or a different one to shuffle this middle pile here, which was originally the bottom of the pack. And once that's been done, you can quite truthfully remind everyone that all the cards have now been shuffled. This pile's then placed on top of this one, and then this one placed on top. It can be shuffled again before if they like. And then with the pack reformed, it's now time for you to find the two selected cards. You can of course decide how you want to present this final reveal of the two cards and how you want to disguise the method, but the way that you find them is you start by looking through the top third of the pack, and what you're looking for is the first spectator's card, which if you remember will be the lowest value spade in this group of cards near the top third. So here if we look through the top third of all the spades that are here, just going to check. Yeah, as you can see, the lowest one is the 9 of spades. So we know that the 9 of spades is the first spectator's card. So we can place that to the side, but as we do that we need to make a note of the value of that card. So in this case it's a 9, because we're going to use that value to find the second spectator's card. So in this case it's a 9. Whatever the value is, we add 10. So if it's an ace, it's 1. If it's a jack, it's 11. If it's a queen, 12. A king, 13. We add 10. So in this case, we've got the 9 of spades. It's a 9. We add 10. So that's 19. So then the method for finding the second spectator's card is to count 19 cards. It will be the 19th card from the face of the pack. So if we count through 17, 18, 19, that brings us to the Jack of Clubs, and that is our second spectator's card, and we can reveal the two cards to the spectators. That then is the end of the video. Thank you for watching, and if you liked it, please like and subscribe. If you've got any comments, leave them down below, and see you soon.